Good morning and welcome back again. It's my immense pleasure to invite a dear friend of mine to join me on this momentous occasion. He's truly a data stalwart. He and I were growing up together professionally in two different sides of the industry while he was changing the world through offering value-added services and changing the landscape. I was involved with companies like TIPCO and PTC, but always heard great things about Ravi Kumar S., the current president of Infosys, and also the member of the New York Academy of Sciences, which is a very coveted position. The one thing that I've always found about Ravi is every conversation I've ever had with him has left me energized, has given me a few things to think about and a few things to smile about. And I hope that's what all of you get from this conversation. In fact, I'm very confident that that's exactly what you would get from this conversation. So Ravi, welcome to SingleStore launch. I know you're a busy executive, and you joining me means a lot.
Thank you, Raj, and congratulations on this wonderful launch. You've always been kind with your introduction, so thanks for that very kind introduction.
Oh, no, it's very well deserved. So why don't we take the viewers through a brief introduction about yourself, about Infosys. You guys are absolutely killing it in terms of the stock market. Glad to be an investor. And so tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll take the conversation to the data space.
Sure. So Raj, so my own role, president at Infosys, I manage all global services for the company based out of New York City. Infosys, as many of you would know, is a tech and digital consulting firm catering to the Global 2000 and helping them on digital transformational journeys. And as much as we created a global delivery model for decades, we are now pioneering the effort of actually building local talent pools, which can actually create agile, distributed landscapes for our clients. So we're very excited about the progress made, very excited about how we are doing, and how we've actually shown resilience in the times we're all living in.
Yeah, no, the two things that have always struck me about you and Infosys is how you have been ultra focused on innovation and talent. And I guess they go hand in hand. And I know both of those are extremely close to your heart. If you don't mind, and if I'm not surprising you, I was, what made my weekend last weekend, despite everything that's been going on around me, all good, is the piece that I read about the future of talent that you opined about. Why don't we start there? Because you had some very interesting thoughts about talent in the new normal, and how do we, possibly plan to foster that talent in these trying set of circumstances.
So Raj, that's a fascinating question. I actually wrote something along with Tom Friedman in his New York Times column earlier this week. The previous revolution which happened, the Industrial Revolution, was a linear one, and it needed a linear approach and a linear response. So what really happened was workplaces were integrated with workforce, and education was actually delivered by educators, and enterprises actually employed people to drive work. That was broadly what the Industrial Revolution created, and it kind of scaled and industrialized across every enterprise. The times we're all living in, digital technologies, which have a half-life which is shrinking. I call it half-life, it's shrinking. You need to constantly change. You need to constantly change the capabilities and skills. So that approach is not going to work. So essentially, the lines between educators and enterprises is blurring, and that fusion is going to create the acceleration and the exponential impact digital technologies need. And more importantly, work and workplaces are getting disintegrated. So jobs are getting disconnected from work and jobs together are getting disconnected from enterprises. And ironically, the health crisis has almost accentuated it or accelerated that process. So today you're going to find a hybrid workplace where work is actually distributed far away from physical workplaces, and that is a catalyst in this entire journey. So I would say that exponential response is needed for an exponential need, because digital technologies are kind of rapidly changing. That's broadly the summary of what I wrote in the op-ed, and everything I wrote underneath it was kind of a derivative from this thinking.
Yeah, no, I found that piece extremely exciting, and hopefully, there's more to come on this topic, because I think that is the seminal challenge of our times, Ravi. I sit broadcasting this to the audience, and I have 3 kids who are on various Zoom sessions being educated. And one of our customers, Go Guardian, who we have joining this morning, and I had a conversation with, and he actually talks about how they're using data, Go Guardian, how they're using data to better the experience of education for the K-12, and to keep the teenagers, safe and secure, and in doing so, keeping the parents' blood pressures low. So data is playing a important role in the education and talent. What are you seeing as some of the trends in the data market today? Because you have some fascinating stories to tell there.
So Raj, that's a great question. Actually, ironically, again, the health crisis has accelerated digital innovation, movement of workloads to the cloud, and in fact, there's an over-the-top layer built of the hyperscalers, if I may, which is primarily reimagining process, reimagining content, reimagining data, and the art of the possibilities of reimagining an enterprise. So data in many ways is in the middle and is the foundational layer on which any digital transformational journey is built. In addition to this, one of the other interesting things which is happening is there is a confluence of new technologies. A good example is 5G. 5G technologies is going to actually take compute in some ways centralized, but the processing of it is actually at the point of consumption. So 5G combined with the cloud is going to make data processing at the point of consumption, and therefore much more real time than ever before. So the point is accelerated innovation in digital technologies, confluence of digital technologies, technologies like 5G. Enterprises are shifting in many ways to a hybrid data model. What I mean by a hybrid data model is bringing transactional data and bringing intelligent analytical data systems together so that they could actually be much more real time than ever before. Enterprises are looking at an ecosystem of data sharing, or in some sense, creating a mechanism where you create new business models, new products, new services using a data sharing economy or a data sharing ecosystem. So more and more, you're going to find data sharing as a part of what you deliver to your clients and as part of what products and services you build for your clients. The third thing I'm actually noticing, which is very interesting, is data is coming in a very diverse set of sources. So the volumes are going to be different. It's going to be different velocity, and it's going to be from different sources. So how do you create how do you create rich insights and drive decision making when you're getting a very dispersed source of data, and each of them has an attribute which is very, very different. The attributes of each data set which is coming in is very, very different. So how do you actually start to bring all of this together so that you could process from multiple sources, but you could use it in a very simplified way for businesses to consume? So gone are the days, I would say, where data integration layers and the paradigm of data integration layers, where defining how well you leverage your data, you're going to move to a connected data paradigm, or a semantic layer, as I call it. And to me, that will drive the future of how you build database management systems. and how you could actually, in an agile way, bring transactional and analytical systems to enable business users to do it without any intervention from super users or power users, without any intervention of IT users. So that, in a broad sense, is the downstream impact, or the upstream opportunities, if you can actually power your data systems with these new trends, which will support this process of transformation.
Yeah, that's very wow. See, I told you he's always got insights which not too many people have. Thank you for that. I do think I'll slightly pull on the thread that you said, because it's also very close to my heart, and we are increasingly seeing that is getting compute to data. All right. And irrespective of data residencies. And I do think that, in fact, we were talking to a very, very large analytics company, and steeped in heritage, etc. And their thing is, we will get our models to the data rather than moving data to our models. All right. And ultimately, what we are increasingly seeing is, from our, at least, customers and prospects, the need to be able to run analytics and applications on the same platform without too much of sort of data movement, or at least that's being the ask. Can you opine on that? Because I'm sure, as always, you'll have a very interesting take on that.
Yeah, so Raj, that's a fascinating question. Most enterprises today want to be sentient, real-time enterprises, which can actually respond to changing needs in a market, and change their business and operating models based on dynamic demand in the market. And if you want to be sentient or real-time, or respond to real-time needs, you need to bring transactional and analytical data systems together in a hybrid model, in one single source, as I call it. And you need to then layer it up with security, governance, and compliance on top of it. So I call it the digital brain. If you want to build a digital brain in the middle of the transactional and analytical system, so that that intelligence can actually move to the business, you want to build a single store, if I may. So your timing of what you're trying to do is apt. The way you've tried to conceptualize this is phenomenal. But what you need to start to think about is the simplified use into the business, and can this be a low-code platform, so that users can actually use this intelligence without the intervention of an IT department. Gone are the days where databases and enterprise software was restricted to a small set of users who built software, who managed the databases, and consumers consumed it. You need to get to a point where every consumer is a creator. And if you want every consumer to be a creator, you have to bring transactional data systems and analytical data systems together. And you need to bridge that. You need to create that bridge, and you need to bring it closer and closer. If it is one source, nothing better than that. So I would believe that will be the future of increasing consumption, increasing analytics, increasing real-time intelligence of data.
Fascinating. I agree with you. In fact, you're too humble in admitting that, but in working with Infosys on a few very marquee customer of ours, we are actually trying to deliver, or at the cusp of delivering this together. So you have a great team. We work very well with you. It's a privilege to partner with you on those things. I do have a question which I've always, sort of asked of myself, and I'll ask of you. You and I naturally sort of got, air quotes, lucky, and got into a industry which was sort of forming as we were graduating out of colleges, etc. And I see at the new age of information workers, which are moving into enterprises, and with your fascination and interest in talent. What is your advice to someone who is starting off making a career as a data evangelist, analyst, operator, strategist? What's your advice, if you have one, which I'm sure would be very unique?
So Raj, that's a fascinating question, actually. In fact, in our small way, what we did was we started to hire liberal arts graduates for data scientist work streams. And that was a big shift for us to move away from people who solve problems, um, people who have the aptitude to solve problems, to be hired for data streams, to moving to people who actually can find problems for the future. The world actually needs more problem finders than problem solvers. And data and the streams attached to data, the talent streams attached to data, have to be with a mindset of finding problems of the future. And that's the reason why, bringing this transactional data and bringing intelligent data systems together is very important, because you want the individual to find problems of the future, then dig into the data which they have, and then to derive insights from it. So that's been a big shift we made. We made a shift to hiring from backgrounds of humanity, hiring from backgrounds of anthropology, hiring from backgrounds of liberal arts, because we felt that is where we're going to get more from the data streams. The second thing we have started to believe, and this is absolutely real now, every time I speak to a CIO or a CXO of a large enterprise, the ability to scale AI is restricted by the amount of data they can actually curate and feed into the AI models and mature them. So we think the kind of people we need today to scale AI will be the ones who can actually foundationally know how to deal with data, and more importantly, they can curate these AI algorithms and mature them and then apply it back to businesses. In fact, every customer I have met today is struggling to discover more value from AI, scale and democratize AI, and use structured and unstructured data so that AI models can be learned in context to the businesses they're operating on. I would say that is a huge opportunity for people who are actually making a professional career in data sciences. Remember, all large enterprise landscapes are hardwired with their data. Our ability to take that data out from that hardwired systems and meaningfully repurpose it, working across transactional and analytical systems, and enabling business users so that they could actually use this data in a meaningful way, is going to be the future. And digital natives don't have this issue because they don't have legacy systems which are hardwired. Large enterprises have this issue. And how do you actually make sure that you don't duplicate the data streams, but you leverage the data underneath it, but reimagine it and use it for future purposes? I think is where the future is going to lie.
This is incredible. Ravi, I know you've been very generous with your time this morning. It's a privilege to call you my friend. Just keep leading the way. With your original thoughts, you make this world so much better than not only what you found it, but what you found it yesterday. You make it better tomorrow. Your leadership is required, and I know of people who have benefited tremendously because they came in contact with you, and I can for sure say that my life's a lot richer and better in every which way, having known you, and your friendship means the world to me. And I wish you nothing but success. And your partnership is great and very important to our success. So thank you for joining me this morning, and be well.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for this opportunity. All the very best on this new endeavor. I think we need something as contemporary as what you're doing for powering digital transformational journeys. So I'm so looking forward to partnering with you. We're already doing it with a few clients. So we're very excited about the possibilities. And I think in this entire journey of reimagining enterprises, the data layer is going to play a very important role, and how you're architecting this new concept of a single store where you bring transactional and intelligence systems together and make enterprises as real time as they can be. I think is going to be game changing. So all the very best, and I look forward to more partnerships with more of our joint clients.
Thank you so very much, Ravi. Stay well. And I am grateful to have you join us on this momentous day. Thank you.